just hard to believe that I won't be held responsible for the things that you now know.
We have made it to the 2-month Dreadlock update video. At least half of us did. This side is doing strong. This side didn't make it as much. I decided to get my side cut, so those dreads, their journey has ended. I'll show you the side cut real quick though. I'm really happy with it. I really like side cuts, even though everybody does them, but you know what? I joined the crowd, so I really like it. So there's it in its ponytail. I just showered it, showered my hair in general, so everything's a little bit, tiny bit damp still. And a little bit odd, especially my bangs here. They're really wanting to do their own thing. They don't usually do this, but they flipped out today. They usually lay nicely. But whatever, I didn't feel like straightening them. I don't really ever straighten my hair because it's bone straight already, other than this today. But, so I thought I would just show you my side cut right off. And my hair a little bit somewhat styled. I don't usually wear it in just a ponytail because as you can see, they stick out really crazy. And I'm not always a fan of that. It kind of just explodes out of the back of my head. If I were honestly to be going somewhere right now, like somewhere in public or going to work, I would be taking these and I usually put them in some form of a bun. So I'd have those more up and out of the way. But since I'm going to be taking them down for this video to show them to you guys, I really didn't feel like doing the whole effort of doing a bun just for me to be able to take it out. But anyway, yeah. So there has been changes to my dreads and I'll be showing those to you in just a second. But one thing I wanted to start off with showing you guys was actually a lot of you guys have been asking about how I got the tunnel in my gauge, or the tunnel in my dread, I meant. So I was actually going to show that to you guys. It's a little bit modified just because what I have left in my gauge collection to put through a dread. So anyway, I'll get started. So, and here is one of the dreads that I actually cut off on this side. So we'll be using that little guy. And also, I think the best gauge to put through, if you're going to do this in one of your dreads, would actually be a spool gauge that looks like this. It doesn't matter what size, as long as the spool gauges, why I like them is because they screw off. And so you have these two pieces. So that, and it also has a really nice ledge to it, rather than something that's more like this, that needs an O-ring and doesn't have nearly as big of a rim, so it's more likely to fall out of your dread and not actually stay in it at all. So that's why I recommend using a thick-rimmed spool gauge that screws off on the back. It's more likely to stay in your dread. But also, for the purpose of this video, I'm actually not going to shove this one through. I don't have a big enough taper to show you guys how I did it. So I'm actually going to use this little guy that I suggested not using just to show you how I push it through. And it would be the same concept if you were pushing this guy through as well. Because I personally like the bigger gauges. Like this one is a 1/2 inch. And that's actually the size that I do have in mine up in here. Is a 1/2 inch gauge because I don't need them anymore, because I'm now at 9/16. So anyway, to start off, you want your dread. I suggest choosing a dread that is thicker, so it's a bit stronger, because this is going to slightly weaken your dread, of course, because you're shoving it through the middle of your dread. Also, this is going to be a lot easier the newer your dreads are. The more packed and matured that your dreads are, this is going to be really hard to shove it through. But I do believe it's still going to be, you can still do it. It's just going to be a lot harder the more matured your dread is. So I suggest doing this on mine. It was a lot easier because mine are only 2 months old, and I did it more toward maybe a month and a half is when I shoved my tunnel through it. So Anyway, so to start off, I would choose a dread that is thicker. And then also, I would do it more toward the bottom of the dread. If you do it more up at the top, you really don't want to mess with the root area. You want that to stay really strong, even when, you know, it like keeps growing. You just don't want anything to mess with the growth pattern of like your root up at the top. So I like to put, if I were to do this, because I might do another one in my hair, I do it down toward the bottom, so like around here. So even like when this gets all like thick and it's really heavy and everything, if it's to pull on where that gauge is, it's not going to snap off your dread, because that would not be a fun thing. So I suggest doing it on a thick dread and toward the bottom, so there's not a crazy lot of weight underneath it. Anyway, so with that said, we can get started. So I just seriously gauge my dread the exact same way you would gauge your ear, minus the healing time. So just like this, a taper that you would use to, my dog's making weird sounds in her sleep, sorry. So I would just take a taper like this that you would get if you were gauging your ears up to the next size. I just have a bunch of these laying around from the past, from when I gauged my ears. I think it was mostly from doing this one. This probably actually is the one that I used to gauge this one. So you take it, and then the spot, of course, where you want it to be, you're just going to take it, and this is really self-explanatory, but I keep getting questions about it. So you just push it through, just like you would in your ears. Push it all the way through. And then I kind of like pull on it a little bit. Try to loosen it up so when I pull this out, it's not going to close up immediately. Oops, slipped out. And then, really just like you would gauge your ears, you're going to take this and shove it through and replace the taper with the gauge. And now you have, as you can see, a tunnel through there. Now, if this was one of the spool gauges, you would take the back of it and you would just screw it on, and it would stay in there really nicely. I've never had any problems with mine, because my dread that I put it in was nice and tight, even though it wasn't matured. Like, my dreads aren't crazy matured, but it still is pretty tight. They're not like crazy loose or anything, or like light, very lightly backcombed kind of feeling. So that's another thing I guess I would say, is make sure your dreads are tight enough to hold something in it. Because like I know some people start their dreads as like crazy loose backcombing, and a lot of it gets washed out in the shower anyway, and then they kind of do like a natural neglect thing. So that probably wouldn't work as well with tunnels. So wait till they're a little bit more matured on those types of starting methods before you can shove it through. But if you did do like a really nice backcomb method, or something that's really just holding in nice, then that's the best a best situation to do this on. And right now I'm just going to put this, I have an O-ring for this one, place it on the back. But yeah, so there it is. Super easy. It really is just like when gauging your ears. And if you've never gauged your ears, you can still obviously go and buy these things. Like a taper, they're like crazy cheap. I don't even know. Usually if you buy a pair of gauges, most places will actually give you a free taper that goes up to the size that you're wanting. So you can just ask for them. And it depends, the prices always range on where you live and everything. I go to the same guy every time when I get my gauges, so I get really great deals on them. But anyway, yeah, so that is how I put my tunnel through my gauge, for any of you guys that were wondering, because I've really had quite a few people be like, oh, that's really cool, how did you put that through there? So that is how I did that. And now I will go straight on to showing you guys my dreads. The ponytail in here is really tight, so 1 second. And they're going to be a little wonky, considering they were in a ponytail and they're damp, so they're probably all like crinkly looking. But anyway, they're actually kind of fun when they're all like messy looking. They look like a mane, and I like what I call mane hair, where it's like big. That's why I did dreads, because my hair is super crazy fine. So I've always had very flat, bone straight hair all my life, and I've always wanted big hair. So I was like, you know what? I love dreads, and dreads make your hair nice and thick. So why not? So, and now my hair looks bigger, and I like it. Okay, so I will show you now that my hair is down, like this side cut. I don't know how it's looking right now. Sometimes some of the dreads like to be rebellious and make this side cut thing not look so awesome all the time. But here's it from the side. And I'll show you from the back as well. Right now, because they're so short, when I do this, it kind of gives me a mullety effect when I pull it over to the other side. Oh, and here's my tunnel gauge, by the way, if some of you guys haven't seen it. And so there it is. Right there. And that's a 1/2 inch gauge put through. Yeah, but here are my dreads. They're getting a lot, like some of them really are getting some character to them. Like that guy's really getting kind of nice and wavy, and I really like it. I'm loving these dreads a lot. There's like all kinds of ones with like weird bumps. Like that one has a nice lump right there. One of my favorite ones though, where is it? Of course, you can never find the one that you want to show when you're filming. Did I flip it already? Oh, I think I did. So it's this one for some reason. I don't know why, but in person, if you see it up close, trying to show it, it's really long. And right here, I don't know. You can't really see it on camera, but it's just really cool and matted looking right there. And I really like it. And then this one is, or where is it? This one is the baby dread, the one I never put an extension on. So that's my actual hair length in comparison here. Yeah, so big difference. So this is baby dread. You used to have a really loose tip, but now it's kind of been eaten up. Get these back over so I don't look creepy. And then a lot of the other dreads that I really like are in the back, because I sleep on my back a lot, so these ones all get rubbed up while I'm sleeping and get a lot of rubbing. So they've really thickened up some of the ones in the back. Like this guy. It's like crazy fat. So it's really cool. So there's quite a few of them like that. This one has a weird, it's been doing this lately. It's been like getting a loop like this. Well, not a loop, but it's been bending like that. But yeah, so these are my dreads. I will show you from the complete side. Okay, so. This one's being crazy. There we go. Anyway, so I'm really liking them. They're doing really well. I'm getting a really positive review on them from a lot of people. Not that I care, even if I got negative ones, I would still be in love with them. But I do work at a place that also is more accepting of a bunch of different crazy styles. Not really gonna, like, mention it or anything. I like to keep a bit of my life a little bit private, even though I'm on the internet right now. I do like to keep some aspects of my life, more private. So, anyway, I do get really good, feedback on my hair and everything. I haven't really, this is, like, brand new, so I haven't really, I went to work like one day with this hair, and other than that, I've been home, and because the first day back at work with this cut was yesterday. So, and I did have a few people say that they did like it, but haven't really had it seen by the world just yet. But a lot of people are actually really liking my dreads and asking how I did it. I get, again, a lot of questions about how I got a gauge through here. Some people are like, you couldn't get enough gauges in your ears, right? So you had to put it in your hair? I'm like, yes. And now I'm thinking about putting another one in my hair. So, really, apparently I just can't get enough gauges. I just need more and put them everywhere. I don't know. But anyway, so I'm trying to think, is there anything else I should put in this update? I guess I could talk about my roots here. They really aren't getting crazy locked up. I mean, this part here is, so this used to be kind of loose, so that's locking up. But now, of course, the new growth is very loose, but that's very common. So I have probably roughly about an inch or so of really loose, like, I mean, I don't want to because I don't want to damage it, but I probably could stick my finger through. It's all very loose. It's not really knotted up. Hence why it's also gets a bit thinner at these points because it hasn't had time to, like, lock up and scrunch up or anything. So I don't mind any of that. This one here, sadly, though, is very thin right now because when I went to do my part out, my side cut, this one had a bit that needed to be cut off and become part of the side cut. So I really did comb some of that out of there. And so now it's pretty thin. Even though this technically used to be 2 dreads, I combined these because it was like my baby hairs in one of the dreads. So combined them. But now I took a lot of it out to become part of the side cut. So it's pretty thin. So I'm probably eventually going to have to combine this with another dread because it's pretty weak there at the top. I'll see how it forms later on. See if it ends up being okay. If anything, I might take this gauge out and put it in a stronger based dread. But we'll wait and see. I'm not rushing to immediately change it or anything. But yeah, I think that's about it for my hair. This is my dreads at 2 months. And they're really cool looking. I really like them. I love the side cut. And that's about it. Thank you for watching, guys. And I'll keep posting videos for sure monthly. Okay, bye.
I'm coming for you. I'm coming